Welcome back. Now in this video we're going to be discussing launch jacking, which is an advanced form of affiliate marketing while we're on this subject. And basically what we're going to do here is we're going to find out about the future launch. Now in this particular case, this is not going to be so much about a product that you already have. This is going to be more about a product that you know you're probably going to want to buy. And you're going to be doing a lot of these things before the product actually launches. So in this particular case, you are going to do a review of that product, either on or off the camera. Now, in some cases, you might be able to work with the affiliate if you've gotten a relationship with them, and you're going to want to get the product and take a look at it, and then you're going to do an extensive review or enough of a review that's going to make people want to buy it once they actually see it, once they understand the benefits and what it actually does. Now you're going to place that review on a bonus page, and you're going to get that bonus page in front of the traffic by pre-selling them in some kind of content. So the pre-sale content is actually going to send them to the bonus page where your review is actually going to be. You can do that inside of a forum where the traffic is going to be relevant. So if it's an internet marketing product, you want to be in an internet marketing forum. You might do that through a post or a video. It's going to be talking about the marketer's problem. You can do it through fan pages or Facebook Live, where you are literally talking about, again, baiting people in based on the situation that they're in and then moving them on to your bonus page where they're going to see your review. You can use social media groups. Now, again, inside of social media groups, you're going to have to make sure that you are not just outright spamming and selling. You want to attract people through your content. You want to attract people through your pre-selling. You can do this extremely well using YouTube. And of course, YouTube is probably going to be one of the best ways for you to be able to do that. If you know about an upcoming launch and you know that maybe it's not going to be as competitive as some of the other launches, you are going to be able to try to get your video in place before the actual launch occurs. So you're going to need to know some basic SEO. You're going to want to know how to optimize your video for search. Also going to need to know how people might search. And when you do that, when you know those two things, you know some basic SEO, you know how people might search, what you were then going to do is then create a Google Hangout, get some live attendees, and get shares on your video. What this is going to do is it's going to make your video more attractive to the search engines, and hopefully to get in place before the launch actually occurs, so that when people go searching, they will end up finding your video as they go looking for the product. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Part 5, Webinar and Workshop Hijacking. Now, why do a workshop? Now, in some cases, a launch will have already happened, and the market's moving on, or maybe it's bored with the particular concept that you are going to be concerned with. So what you are going to need to do in order to make it sellable is to find a different set of online customers. In some cases, you're going to need to find a different set of offline customers interested in the niche. And these customers can typically be persuaded in a different way. They can be persuaded by your proof. So they don't necessarily need to see a new launch, and they don't necessarily see a big price decrease or a price cut. They're really going to be persuaded by seeing evidence that what you have is going to be right for them at that particular time. And when you have that proof, these customers can be persuaded by the same copy that you're using. Now, you are going to have online customers in different niches, and sometimes there are different pockets of online marketers that may not have heard a particular product in a marketplace, like for instance JVZoo. They're going to be people who have operated in the ClickBank environment but who haven't heard of anything in JVZoo, or maybe they were operating in the Warrior Plus environment. Maybe they were operating in the Zaxa environment, and all these are affiliate networks. Maybe they were operating in the Deal Guardian network, and again, they may not have heard of a particular product in a particular area, and so this will be relevant to them. So what you want to do then is to make something called webinar workshop hijacking work for you in this particular case. What's going to happen is you're going to be sending traffic to a webinar instead of an actual bonus page. So people are going to have a concept taught to them, and then they're going to be asked or pitched on buying a product. Now, obviously, you're going to be using an automated webinar in order to do this. you're basically going to be using the webinar as your testing ground, and you're going to pitch the product to a number of different audiences according to their particular problem. So in other words, you're going to send people with a specific kind of problem to a specific kind of webinar, and you are going to then pitch your product to them based on their particular problem. And of course, all this is going to be easy to do inside of any webinar system where you have control in order to send an automated webinar. Now, in order to do this, you're still going to need a bonus. You are going to need to seed the value throughout your presentation. So you're going to be talking about things like what it would cost to fix their problem. What would it cost to have them see a similar solution? You want to have this throughout the presentation. You don't just want to wait till the end to try to convince people with a very low price. You want to be talking to them about the value they should expect to pay over the course of the time during the webinar. What would it actually cost if things got worse for them? And you should be telling them that throughout your presentation. You want to make sure that whatever facility you're using for your automated webinar, make sure that your customer or your potential customer can see the bonus. So in other words, use a visual representation. If you have a graphical software box or something that they can actually visualize what it is they're going to be getting as a result of picking up the purchase through your affiliate link when you are webinar hijacking. And then make sure that bonus is shown to them when the offer is made. So make sure that it is visible to them. If you can use an automated feature so that they can see that bonus, that it's timed so that when the offer comes, they'll actually see the bonus right along with it so that they know they have to act in order to get the bonus in addition to your offer. And finally, make sure that you are watching your stats very carefully because you want to make sure you understand whether or not the webinar is actually converting. You want to know at what point people are leaving. You want to know at what point they are coming in. You want to have a good sense for what the webinar is actually doing for you because again, this webinar is actually taking the place of a bonus page and is actually going to do a main portion of the selling for you. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, in this video, we're going to start with the second part of the 7 Ps, and we're starting with the avenue of profit. And basically, the first part of the profit section, we want to see something through until it already gets a result, and we've talked about that in a previous video. So we want to start with that as the premise of creating our product, the result. And then once we get a result, of course, we're going to be developing our own secret method, our own unique path to actually getting a profit. And we're going to be able to do this whether or not we're talking about an information product. We want to make sure that the information that we're giving is going to be our direct path. So again, the documentation is important. If we're going to be taking PLR and we're going to be doing it, now obviously, typically we're not going to be reselling it as PLR, but we can sell it as our unique product. Again, if we have our own unique method and way of being able to process what it is that people need to do. And of course, if we're going to create our own software which automates the process. Now, the second part of this is whether or not we're going to be able to reproduce the results. And that's where the result comes in. So can we, on demand, continue to produce the same result consistently over and over and over again with our method or whatever it is that we're going to be delivering when we actually make the sale? And of course, what's going to be of interest to internet marketers is going to be whether or not we can scale it. I mean, we don't want to give something that people are going to have to spend all their time and effort in order to make work. We want them to be able to either outsource the process or we want them to be able to use paid advertising or some way of them being able to scale it up so that if they don't necessarily have time to really make it big, that they can. This is going to be a key selling point when we get ready to actually write our copy. And of course, we start then talking about the actual product. We are going to then create our product. That means getting our sales page together and making sure that our product is ready for sale. And when we do that, we're going to be using our documentation. So whatever it is that we did in terms of our product, that is really going to be the core purpose or the core part of our product. The most important aspect of our sales copy is going to be the fact that we were able to get this result over and over again, and we can prove it. Going to be able to prove it with our result. And in some cases, if we can actually get people to take our product, use it, and get the same results, this is going to be a fantastic way of being able to put social proof on our sales page. Now, if possible, we want to put it on the same affiliate network that the vendor is on, because again, we want to have that relatability, and we actually are going to want them to be willing, and we want it to be easy for them to promote. And then, one thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make sure that we're purchasing their product. We want to make that as part of our method. We want to put that in our product, that people need to get the core method from the actual vendor. And again, all this does is this really kind of helps us to build that relationship with the vendor, make them more open to promoting our product when they're ready. And of course, that is the last part of the method. We are actually going to want someone to promote our product. We're going to ask the vendor to promote our product naturally. We're going to get our sales page ready. We're going to host it on Muncheye. We're going to get everything together and make sure that anything that is a question that has already been answered, everything that we can possibly do to make it easy for someone to promote. Again, we are going to want to make sure that if we have a JV page, it looks like all the other JV pages. So if the other JV pages have swipes, if the other JV pages have bonuses or bonus pages, we want to have those things too on ours. We want to make it easy for people to promote. And then we're going to approach the vendor and ask them to promote our product. It's pretty much going to be that simple. We want to apply for an affiliate link to their product and let them know that their product is part of our package. Again, we want to make this as enticing as we can to the vendor in order for them to promote our product. Okay, so that is the end of the 7P method of taking your purchases and turning them into your own products. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome to this video course where we will be discussing the multiple ways that you can profit from the information products that you purchase. Now, these methods that we'll be talking about in this course, you'll be able to implement them regardless of the reason that you bought the product. For example, let's say that you bought a new affiliate marketing method or a course or an instructional method teaching you how to do affiliate marketing in a new way. This course will be discussing how you'd profit from that course in every way other than the method that you're being taught in the course. So we're going to discuss how you use that product that you bought in order to make profits in every other way. So now this course is going to be delivered in 6 parts. Part 1 will discuss the turning of your purchase into an actual service, and we'll talk about how you do that. Part 2 will discuss turning your webinar attendances into its own product. Part 3 will discuss turning your purchases into new products. Part 4 will discuss turning your purchases into affiliate promotions and a concept called affiliate jacking, which is short for affiliate hijacking. Part 5 will discuss using webinars and workshops along with your purchases in order to profit. And Part 6 will discuss PLR jacking or PLR hijacking. And we'll wrap up with using your purchases for list building. Now, this course, we will discuss all of these parts in a way for you to be able to take them and then use them for profit. Now, let's first talk about the mindset you're going to need in order to monetize all of your purchases. So whether or not you bought a piece of software, whether or not you buy an information product, whether or not you buy a piece of PLR, whatever it is that you're buying, you want to be able to profit from it in every way. And we want to talk about how you think about that in order to profit. And basically, we're going to suggest that you need to have a business and accounting mindset. And if you've ever did anything with respect to accounting, whether or not it was in school or in business, there are some basic building blocks when it comes to accounting. There are assets. So these are things that you buy for the purpose of using them in order to allow your business to make money. So for instance, you could buy membership software. That software in and of itself won't make you money, but buying the software is going to be necessary for you to be able to create sites and lock up content so that you'll be able to create places for your customers to go once they purchase. You can also buy a product for the sake of revenue. So the product all by itself brings in cash. So let's say that you go and you buy a website that's already cash flowing. You buy it with the express purpose, understanding that the website will actually start paying you and putting money into your account. There is also expense. So this actually costs you money in some way. These are the fees that you're going to have to pay in order to do business. Autoresponder fees, hosting fees, all the kinds of things that you have to pay out that won't necessarily pay you directly, but they are the cost of doing business. Finally, there is inventory, which you can take and sell for cash, and that would be your PLR and your resale rights products. You're going to be able to take them and resell them at a retail level. So the question is going to be, when you start thinking about your purchases, how do your purchases fall into these categories? And you want to start thinking about that even if you buy, let's say, a piece of software and it has a purpose, you want to also think in terms of how else can you use it? Can you use it as an asset? Can you use it as revenue? To bring revenue? Can you use it in order to resell it? And if you think in that way, you are going to then be able to find new ways to monetize your purchases. One of the keys to being able to buy for profit any product, regardless of what its purpose is to understand the basic foundation of internet marketing. Now, let's discuss what we mean by that. Basically, the mindset to have is to understand that information marketing, or internet marketing as we know it, or online marketing with the express purpose of creating information for sale, is a trade. It doesn't necessarily take a college degree. It doesn't necessarily take a profession. It takes an understanding of how the mechanisms work. And so for you to understand how the mechanisms work, just as you would if you had to be a plumber, just as you would if you had to be a carpenter, you need certain tools to do internet marketing. You need things like autoresponders. You need things like sales pages and landing pages. Understanding the tools that you need to buy is important for you to be able to do the trade. And understanding that when you start thinking about what you're buying, one of the things that you're going to need to do is to make sure that you have the tools of the trade first before you start buying for some of these other reasons. You are going to need to have certain training, or you're going to need to be able to access certain people with that training. You are going to need to understand copywriting. You are going to need to be able to understand outsourcing. You're going to need to understand graphics and how they fit into the sales process. You are going to need to understand content and how it draws people in, research and how it goes into your product development, social, search. These are ways of bringing people to your actual website or to your web presence, video and how it comes across. So basically, you want to understand that these are going to be things that you need to understand, even if you choose not to be the person to do it. If you're going to have someone else do it, you want to have an understanding of how it works. If you have to outsource copywriting, you want to understand what good copy is. If you want to outsource your graphics when you get the actual package back, you want to understand what good graphics look like. If you are going to have your copy outsourced or your content outsourced, you want to understand what good content is and whether or not it's effective in what it does. So whether or not you have someone else do these things or not, you still want to have enough training in your brain to be able to make sure that you understand what's happening. And of course, any trade can become a business. For example, you can be a plumber and learn the trade, but you can then start your own plumbing business, and internet marketing is no different. If you think about it in this way, these are certain things that you're going to have to understand even as you start to create an internet marketing business. When you start teaching others, this is when it becomes a profession. So in other words, when you start to generate income that is recurring, when you can start to dictate what your methods are, when you can generate profits at will, it will become a profession. You can then start teaching people what you have learned. So understanding these points, understanding that internet marketing as a trade is important as you start to buy, making sure that you have the tools of the trade before you attempt to then start taking some of the purchases that you have to turn them into other profits. So make sure that you understand some of these basics, and if you don't understand them, make sure that you have a plan to start understanding them so that you will then begin to see the relationships between what you've purchased and being able to find buyers or people that need what you can bring to the marketplace. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.